Now, this is my hot take. After the first round, he put a beating on Stipe in the first round. I think he could have ended the fight if he really wanted to.
So you think Jon had the ability to get him out in one round, but he decided to play with his food for 10 more minutes, basically?
I wouldn't say he was playing with his food. He's like the revamped version of Mike Tyson. Not as crazy, but still up there with Tyson. Like people, like the way we talked about Tyson is the way we're gonna talk about Jones. Keith Peterson is my guy.
Yeah.
But I don't even know what was going on in that fight. Keith, I love you, but that was crazy. I know even if you watch it, you're gonna be like, yeah, I fucked up. Bow, bow, the back of his head. And I'm looking like, okay, that's one, that's two. Hey, Keith, that's 10. You might as well just cheat, bro, because if the refs aren't gonna call it, then who gives a shit?
Do you think Jon actually is looking at Tom as like, this might be the guy who can get it done?
I think
Straight from New York, yo, this handsome man, yo, now tuned in to Aljo, the funk master. Watch your grill, yoga knocked out cold fast and talking shit. Now we talking facts. Whether mount or off the back, you in trouble, came to burst your bubble. I don't shelter punches, they find home on your mind about a double. This the weekly scraps. You don't need a map, GPS, I'm right here to lead the dash. The world doesn't know it needs, but I grow disease, planet fucking name and the fame. Only legacy remains. Remember the name, Aljamain Sterling. It ain't shit, the fuckers.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Weekly Scraps here on Long Island, New York. Cheers from the Funk Harbor crew. Thank you guys for joining. Welcome to my humble abode. Now, of course, UFC 309 is settled in the dust. Jon Jones made his returns, first title defense. I thought it was a really good fight. I have a couple of takeaways, though.
Okay.
It wasn't a great fight in the sense of the youth when they're both in their primes kind of a thing. Jon is obviously more in his prime than Stipe is, closer to, it kind of reminds me when he fought DC. DC was kind of on his way out, just a little bit older, a little bit above the threshold of his back surgeries and things like that, where his more athletic prime was closer to when he was in Strikeforce and his early UFC days. But with that said, I think what Jon Jones was doing, after the first round, he put a beating on Stipe in the first round. I think he could have ended the fight if he really wanted to. Now, this is my hot take.
Oh.
Jon Jones was trying to see how he would feel with more ring time so that he can see, if I were to fight Aspinall, how do I really think I would do? I need to have a little bit more ring time to see against a real heavyweight and to see how my body would feel against a guy like that with the size, the strength, the punching. Can I take a shot at this weight? Of course, we seen him skedaddle out of there when Stipe started chasing him down, but he had a little bit more of the speed advantage, right? So I think he was just trying to get his feet wet and see if, like, from the Cyril Gane fight, from that being about a minute and 30 seconds, maybe 2 minutes, to now going 4 rounds, about 4 rounds, I think it kind of let him know, like, okay, if I really wanted to fight Aspinall, I know I'm capable of doing it against a much younger, youthful guy who's faster. He's the typical tight end that you would recruit, right? Mm-hmm. If he was here playing, grown up in the States as opposed to the UK, where not a lot of big guys like that go and play, say, I'm going to go fight. They're going to go play a sport that's going to make them millions upon millions. So easily he could come to the to America growing up and could have been playing in the NFL. That's just how gifted I see him as a nimble big guy. And I think Jon kind of answered some of those questions if he can stick around. And he said at the end, I think he kind of had a little bit of juice, a little bit of confidence, like, you know what, I'm not retiring. It's negotiation time, and I like that. I thought all those things answered those questions, but Stipe gave the best that he could give. So no shame in that. He still has the most title defenses in a row at the heavyweight division. So for me, he's still the heavyweight GOAT. But Jon Jones is still one of the, if not the greatest of all time.
So I saw a tweet from MMA Guru that was like kind of the opposite of your take. It was basically him saying, like, the fact that Stipe won a round, the fact that Stipe was able to even get 1 round against Jon Jones on one of the judges' scorecards proves that Jon stands no chance against a guy like Tom Aspinall.
And that makes sense, but when you look at it from a logical standpoint, like, you need ring time. He's only fought twice now in the last, like, 4 years, right?
So you think Jon had the ability to get him out in 1 round, but he decided to play with his food for 10 more minutes, basically? or 7. Let's just say 7 more minutes.
I wouldn't say he was playing with his food. I think he was testing his tools out to see if I still got the juice in the shake.
So that's how confident you are in Jon Jones, is you think he would make that decision versus get a first round finish again.
I think so. I mean, if you look at the first round and how he took him down, you have to question it. Could he have not just done that again? I mean, he stepped behind and just reaped the leg out, which is a pretty slick throw. It takes a lot of skill to pull off a throw like that. And if Jon Jones could pull that off on Stipe, it's kind of like, well, he didn't even shoot after that, did he? He never took an actual shot after that first takedown, which was a trip. It wasn't actually like I'm going in to shoot to take you down.
And it wasn't even like, I feel like it wasn't even like really set up.
Exactly. They got into a clash of situation. He came up, swept the leg out. And I think if you're an analyst, you can look at the fight and step back and go, okay, there's a couple of takeaway here. And I understand what Guru is saying. It's so funny that I'm addressing him as Guru. It's just, what is his first name?
I feel like I have to like, I feel like I have to bring the the younger side. Yeah, and you're like the old head, like
the Guru, MMA Guru. It's just hilarious. Why is
he is the MMA Guru?
How? Based on what merit? Because he's a whatever big dude.
I don't know. I don't think Jon. What actual fighter in the heat of battle would make that decision? Like, how you've got to be seeing everything in such slow motion and be that much better than everyone. That's what you're saying?
I think you could see the trajectory of the fight from the first round, how it ended, how dominant it was. It's just like, yo, and it was mean. When he wanted to put elbows on him, you'd seen when he was just like, I'm unloading some real heat in this situation. And I think with that being said, if he actually went where Ciryl Gane, he shot right away almost. As soon as the striking wasn't going his way, it's like, let me zap some of the energy of Stipe, take away some of the pop from his punches, and then when he got hit a couple of times, he kind of like rolled with it and was just like, okay, it wasn't that bad. And I think that gave him more confidence, like, okay, we could keep it standing. I could really work my game to see what kinks I need to work out if I do fight a guy like Aspinall, who is going to be faster, younger. Even younger, he's not really tangible in the moment, but because he's younger, he can move. He's a lot more nimble. He's got a better footwork than Stipe. Stipe was more so just plotting and going forward and landing those shots where he could. But a guy like Aspinall who can move laterally really well for a big dude, that's a scary combination. Hand speed, he has decent wrestling, anti-wrestling, and I think the jiu-jitsu speaks for itself. He can actually grapple for a big guy. So there's a lot to be said with that. He's been grappling from a young age, so it's not like he was a heavyweight learning how to grapple. He's been learning how to grapple since he was a young lad. So even my brother Troy and I were talking about this, and he's like, yeah, I felt like Jon was just feeling things out. And I was like, I'm glad somebody else saw the same thing that I was seeing, because I didn't want to say and come off like I'm trying to diminish anything from anybody, but I felt if he really wanted to get him out of there, like if there was urgency, like I need to end this fight, I felt like he was just kind of just taking his time, picking his shots, working his jab, trying to snap his jab into the body, like
sparring.
It was almost like checking out the toolbox and seeing like, okay, all these tools are working. Let me see about my front kicks. Dude, you saw how nasty those front kicks were? Yeah. He hurt him multiple times.
Yeah. Nah, like he stopped him in his tracks a couple times.
So when you think about it, it's like, well, you technically could have spammed that and kept coming up to the head kick, which he did go to the head kick a couple times, maybe 2, maybe 3 times. But hurting him the way that he did to the body lets you know, like, he could have kept spamming, and he decided not to, just working out all the kinks. And I think if you're educated as a competitor, you have to look at those things like, well, why couldn't you have just done that from the beginning? I mean, I really felt like he could have, and just wanted to just see if he had the juice, if the juice was worth the squeeze. And once you zap him out of the first round, 3 minutes of riding time and punishment, that Stipe is going to be a little bit more deflated than the guy in the very first round who's going to be able to take a shot and also give a lot more punishment with more snap on his punches versus later on in the fight. That's my takeaway. I don't know anything, though. I just watch the sport. I don't fight or anything like that.
So Jon was playing with his food.
You can use that term.
But that's basically what you're saying.
Was working out the kinks.
Jon had such little opposition that he took that round to work things out.
Yeah. Remember the surgery?
Against the greatest heavyweight ever.
I would say so. The surgery, then you have the infrequency of how often he's fought. When he was younger, he fought way more often than he does now. Obviously, he's made a lot of money. There's no need for him to fight as often, as frequent, especially as a champ, 5-round training camps. You tend to push your body to the limit, and then injuries like that, which his pec happened just from a regular shot that he's hit multiple times, and all of a sudden it pops. It's just one of those things. Like, your body needs time to recover. So with that being said, I feel like he wanted to get more time, and he said in his interviews, I felt like I was robbed. I felt like I was cheated a little bit, where I didn't get enough time to really see what he could do when he just kind of one-sided just ran through Cyril Gane like that. So that's my personal opinion. I think what I was looking at, that's what I was seeing. And it didn't look like he had much urge. It didn't look like he had discomfort where it's like, yeah, I'm trying to get this done. It didn't look like he had a mean face on where it's like, I'm trying to beat the brakes off of this guy right now. It's just, I'm going to take my time, pick my shots, one off here, one off here. And that's what I said about the breakdown. Jon is going to poke at him and probe at him and pick until Stipe kind of just gets to a point where he just starts rushing in. But he didn't rush in on that. He just got caught with a nasty spinning back kick. It was funny because Joe Rogan corrected him about the liver shot. He said the liver's the liver, but he was like, yeah, but you threw the kick on the other side. I was like, damn, Joe, just let him live, bro. Because he threw the spinning back kick with the left leg, not with the right leg. So the right leg would have hit him here, the left leg hit him here.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah, that is technically correct when you throw that liver punch. From an orthodox standpoint, you throw the left hook to the body, which is on the right side. But he hit him on the other side, the left side of the body.
Which is crazy that he still went down like that.
Yeah. The heel to your organs is just bad.
Your necklace is caught in your...
Oh, goddamn.
I just noticed it.
Why does that happen? Too much bling bling on the ching ching.
What's a ching ching?
I don't know. I don't know.
All right, so Aljo thinks Jon Jones is playing with his food.
That is not what I said.
That's an interesting take.
That was my thought process. But I thought Jon looked good. I thought he got to show a little bit more to the masses of what he can do, and he still was able to get the finish in a dominating fashion. That was the kill shot. And again, respect to Stipe and everything he's accomplished. The guy is a workhorse. One of our first responders on the front line. I don't know how he was able to do that throughout his entire career.
That's crazy.
Become a champion, multiple time defending champion. The guy is a freaking boss. So cheers to Stipe. Salute from the Funk Harbor boys.
I think last night, because I didn't really grow up watching Jon Jones, like kind of when I got into MMA, he had the Dominic Reyes fight, and then like he kind of went missing for a while.
Yeah.
And then he had Surreal, and then now Stipe.
So you don't quite
I don't get it, but last night I got it. I was like,
nah, you'll get it. I'll show you his UFC debut, and we could go through a marathon. You're just gonna be like, nah, this guy's the one.
nah, like, but
He's
even
Neo.
just
He is Neo, bro. He is Neo.
But even last night, I was like, yo, like he has, like just from the front kicks and like the kicks and shit, I was like, yo, this is just like everything he does is nasty.
The
like,
speed of it.
Yeah.
Where you saw when they did a slow motion and the toes just stab him right in the solar plex. And he's just like, huh? Bro, if you don't know what that feels like to get punched or kicked there or just any type of strike, dude, just let someone just right in the solar plex. And you're going to just be like, yeah, I'm going to need a minute man down.
Nah, but just that. And then like everything, like, I think it was in the Chandler fight. I think Chandler had him in a position where he like could have been landing like 12-6 elbows. But like
The Chandler fight.
the Chandler and
Oliveira. What
Yeah, like
about
when he
Jon?
took him down.
What about
I'm
Jon?
about to get there. So, like Jon Jones just had no problem like getting his ground and pound off. Like once he got Stipe down, it was like zero opposition. I can do whatever I want to you. And then like I was comparing that to the Chandler fight where like when Chandler had Oliveira in that position, like he wasn't able to control it. And I was like, yo, there's like crazy levels to this.
Yeah. Stipe did good controlling his hand though at some points, like just holding on. I was like, see, that's the difference between a real heavyweight grip right there, who's been in the trenches from all sides, you know. And the difference with that fight with Francis Ngannou is he didn't have to worry about the knockout, the one-punch knockout power. I'm not saying Jon can't do that, but it's not like a very apparent threat like the Ngannou fight. Like that's a dangerous man in front of you. He starts swinging these bungalows, you better duck and head for the mountains, bro, and just get up out of there. Because, yeah.
I think Tom is a lot more close to that than Stipe is.
Yeah.
Which makes me want to ask you, like, how do you think, after seeing last night, how do you think the Aspinall fight would go with Jon? Because Dana said that's the next fight that's happening.
Oh man, that's a tricky one. I really, you know what it is because Aspinall has fought guys and demolished them. But then again, at the heavyweight division, there aren't many athletes like an Aspinall or Jon Jones. Those are like...
They're the two most skilled heavyweights, I think, by far.
So it's like when we compare the sample size, there's not much. Like obviously it's heavyweight, one punch equalizer, right? But in the UFC division right now, who's signed to the roster, there's not much to compare. Whereas like Aspinall's like head and shoulders above on paper. Like yeah, it's a fist fight. Anything can happen in 4-ounce gloves. But on paper, head and shoulders above the competition in terms of talent, skill, grappling, wrestling. I would say jiu-jitsu, boxing, footwork, all the things that you would want in an athlete and a workhorse and want to be in. Like he has the whole package. So in terms of a fight, now you have to fight the IQ of someone like Jon Jones, and we know his heart already. I mean, I've been there since the beginning of his career when he's had those wars with Gustafsson, and he had that other war with. I don't know if that was a real war with Reyes, but he's been through the fire, where we kind of got to see what he was actually made of. He got to test, as he would say, his warrior spirit, and I think when you can see someone else's grit like that, it puts them in a different perspective compared to, I don't know, let's just say like they're having a good time winning, always being the hammer. But when they're a little bit becoming the nail, the Thiago Santos fight, some of those fights where he had a little bit of pushback, a little difficulty, even the first DC fight, you got to see what he was kind of made of. And I think we haven't quite seen Aspinall in that headspace yet. And for me, I know Jon is championship tested on all fronts. And I think skill-wise, Jon is just as good. I do think Aspinall might be the better athlete, though.
I think so.
Like, if we're talking running speed, combine, like the
like
reason
an
why,
NFL combine.
Yeah, like
he would do better.
Of course,
yeah.
NBA.
Yeah.
Like Jon wasn't the greatest basketball player, football player like his brothers were. They were way quicker, way more nimble. They just got it way more than Jon. They called him Bones because of that, and he had his other brothers who were just better athletes in an overall package. But when it came to wrestling, a one-on-one aspect, his IQ allows him to set himself apart from everybody else. And I think that would be the difference, where it'd be the experience of Jon Jones versus a guy like Aspinall, who's a young, more, I don't want to say gifted, but because gifted, because he does work hard, right? So I don't want to say gifted, but more naturally talented in those physical departments that you need.
Strength, speed,
Jon's not the explosive guy who's like jumping over walls and shit like that, doing crazy backflips and things like that. I could see Aspinall doing stuff like that.
I think, Jon's thing is like the amount of things he's able to learn in a quick amount of time.
Yeah.
Because like I heard stories about him where it was like he was 23 and he was world champion, like, and it's not like he was doing MMA his whole life. He was
Against
just wrestling.
Shogun Hua.
Yeah, so it's like that just tells you that like, okay, he was able to pick up a lot of shit in a really short amount of time.
Yeah, and he took that fight on short notice because Rashad Evans was supposed to fight him, which was his former teammate.
Yeah.
He got hurt. Jon Jones stepped up in the octagon just when they offered him the fight, and he accepted it, went out there, passed with flying colors. And if you don't know who Shogun Hua is, I implore you to go to YouTube or whatever, Rumble, whatever platform, and find highlights of Shogun Hua when he was in Pride, face stomping guys, grabbing the rope, jumping up, and just curb stomping fools, bro.
So he was just scary.
He was
back then.
He was a dog, bro. Like that was a guy you didn't quite want to fight. Beat Rampage Jackson back when Rampage was in his prime. Like I'm talking some of these fights, like it's just bad. Like so when he fought Shogun, like I was just learning about Shogun, how good he was when Forrest Griffin had gotten the upset over him. So I had just learned who Shogun was. I'm not sure which one came first, the title shot or that. But then to see that happen and then go back and watch Shogun fights to get familiar with him, I'm like, oh, this guy just beat up a straight up savage. And the way he did it was not even close.
Didn't he like choke him and then just let his body fall?
That was Lyoto Machida.
Okay.
Who was another savage and went toe-to-toe with Weidman for the belt.
Yeah, okay.
So when you put these fights in perspective, bro, it's just like...
Who went toe-to-toe with Weidman. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, I think Machida won the first round against Jones, but then Jones made a couple adjustments, came back in that second round, caught him with that left hand, got him in the front headlock, strangled him in a prayer choke, dropped him. The ref said, let him go, dropped him, walked away, and just like, I'm out. just
That's
clean
gangster.
up on aisle 6. This is a murder scene. It was just literally like, yo, it's a 187. But that just goes to show what type of athlete he is. And again, going back to Aspinall, I just think he's more battle tested in regards to the ranks of opponents and caliber of championship fighters he had to fight at 205, who I think is more skilled than heavyweight.
Yeah.
That's the question mark. Aspinall's a badass dude, but can he beat the mind of Jon Jones, who is phenomenal at just breaking guys down, knowing them better than they know themselves? And that for me is a big question mark.
I almost think based on Aspinall's last few fights, I almost think he has that like Francis type of power, like he's ending these fights so quick.
Well, he catches them first.
Yeah, and so I'm like, is Jon? So then like okay, the thing with Jon in his heavyweight fights is like he always had the bigger grappling advantage. So it's like with Surreal, like you knew he could always just end the fight like that. And like Stipe, he was always going to have the grappling advantage over Stipe. But I don't really think he has the grappling advantage over Aspinall. So it's like, I feel like I don't think so.
Skill for skill? You don't
Or it's the smallest advantage that he's had at heavyweight.
Okay.
By far.
Yeah. I could get behind that.
And this guy's, you can't like bully him.
You're chained now.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't think you can bully, like, I don't think Jon's going to be able to bully Aspinall on the ground.
I don't think he's going to need to bully him. I mean, you see the pace he's fighting at. He's just literally just plotting and walking you down, snapping those front kicks, hitting you with jabs, oblique kicks, side kicks. He's not putting himself in any type of firefight combination where he's going to be putting himself at tremendous risk. He fights super smart, but is super dangerous for his opponents.
Yeah.
And that's the hand speed of Aspinall is what scares me the most for Jon, because if Stipe can get to him, that means Aspinall theoretically can possibly get to him. But with that said, I think Jon would have a different approach. I don't know what that approach would be.
Stipe got to him, and like Stipe was able to close the distance a lot, but he just didn't do anything about it, like with it. Like he would like rush in and blitz him, and he was like getting close, but just missing because I feel like Stipe was slow. But I don't think Tom is missing like that.
Yeah.
Like I think I don't know. It's like scary. Like
yeah, no, it's a crazy fight.
This is a 265 linebacker, like tight end, like Rob Gronkowski type of dude.
Yeah.
With grappling skills, he's knocking out the baddest heavyweights in the world. Like.
Yeah, but even like the guy he knocked out, the Russian dude who was like just bulldozing everybody.
Yeah.
Like when you look at the way he's doing it, is it that impressive in regards to a technical standpoint? You're like, all right, this guy's a marauder. He's coming through and connecting first, and just once he hits these guys, it's over. But in terms of a technical standpoint, he runs into a guy like Aspinall, who's a little bit more polished, lands the cleaner shot first, and then that fight's not even close. Then it's also like.
That's like what Tom does every fight, though.
Yeah, but then that's what I'm saying. Like the cream of the crop of the division is, he is the cream of the crop. He is that guy. There's no one else as talented as him in the division. Even a guy like Curtis Blades, talented but mostly a wrestler, a little bit over the hill in terms of age now at this point. But for heavyweight, it's okay because most of the heavyweights are old.
Yeah.
Aspinall's probably the youngest heavyweight that there is, one of the youngest heavyweights. It's a very intriguing fight. If I had to put money on it, it'd be super hard for me to bet against a guy like Jones, just because I know the mindset that he comes in with. Not saying Aspinall couldn't get it done because of all those physical gifts that he has, but dog, betting against a guy like that, who, if he gets you on the ground, that's just a bad night. You're going home needing Advil, Motrin, and Excedrin all in one night.
Do you think so let's say he takes down Tom, and he has him in that position that he had Stipe in when he's landing the elbows?
I don't know if Aspinall's getting out.
Really?
I don't know if Aspinall's getting out. And Stipe's not terrible on the
but
ground.
He's like...
It's not like a black belt, but he's not terrible on the ground.
Nah,
if you're in a crucifix position...
But Aspinall's a black belt.
Yeah, but we're talking a crucifix position.
And he's a massive fucking beast of a man, pause. Like,
but we're talking the crucifix position. Have you ever been in a crucifix?
No. I know that that's impossible to get out.
It's not impossible, but it's a very difficult position to get out of.
But I'm not talking...
anybody.
I'm talking about in the first round.
In the first round.
Like when he had him against the fence and he's just like raining elbows down on him. Like I think Aspinall's getting out of that.
He might.
Like he's a much better grappler than Stipe, and like jiu-jitsu, like maneuvering on the ground, you know?
I don't know. You think about him training with Ryan Gordon and those guys. I don't know, man. Jon is like a sponge, bro. Like I've seen him work on techniques and then implement it like the very next fight, and you're just like. Usually it takes guys a couple months, maybe like a year before they can like really implement a technique without needing to think about it. But this guy's just doing moves that he just learned and just like, oh yeah, this is a good time to try this. And then he just tries it and just works. Again, for me, it's about the mindset and the IQ of a guy like Jones over the inexperience, but the dangerous tools and what would you call it? I guess the toolkit. The toolkit?
The toolkit, yeah.
I guess a toolbox.
Skill set, yeah.
Toolkit, toolcake, toolbox, two-bit, two shit.
Toothcake.
Toothcake, fruitcake. I guess that the toolbox of Aspinall, I think you have that versus the IQ of Jones, and that's what would be competing in my personal opinion.
Did you see Kenny Florian's like super long tweet about like regarding the comments about Jon ducking Aspinall?
No.
I mean, it'd be like way too long to read on here, but
Okay.
To sum it up, he was basically saying like he thinks Jon he's not necessarily ducking Tom, but he knows that he's been around long enough to know that.
Oh, this is really long.
Yeah.
Holy people read all this? This is a
I
novel.
actually, I think I read like 80% of it because it was actually really well written. But to sum it up, he's basically talking about how Jon, he's been around the game long enough to know that one, he has all the leverage in negotiation. So if he's gonna fight anybody, he's the guy who everybody wants to fight. So if the UFC wants to like build up their next star in Tom Aspinall, that they really need Jon to like give him the fight. So like Jon has all this leverage. He's got to use that to get as much money as possible. So that's why he's saying he doesn't want to fight Aspinall. He's like throwing up another fight that the fans definitely would. Everyone would actually tune. Like probably more people would tune in for that fight, the Pereira fight.
Chama.
Like in terms of just like pure like mainstream appeal. So like that's why he's doing that to keep everyone on their toes. And two, he probably sees that the UFC is looking at Jon like the reality of the UFC.
McGregor.
Yeah, well, the reality of
Not
Jon
new,
is
but-
like the reality of the UFC is like all the stars, they have their run, and then the UFC will inevitably use said star to build up the next guy,
Yeah, of
no
course.
matter how great they were. Like even the Jon Jones.
We call that the circle of life. The circle of life.
But like
That's Lion King. I'm pretty sure you never watched it.
I did watch Lion King.
Did
many
you really?
times. Yeah.
Did you watch it?
Mufasa.
Okay.
Simba.
He just knows the character's name. Did you know that song though?
Yeah, of course.
Sure.
Bro, come on. I grew up on Lion King.
Did you really?
Starved Rock, the big ass rock.
Okay, go ahead.
Fuck you, bro. So I say all that to say, do you think Jon actually is looking at Tom as like this might be the guy who can get it done?
Of course.
Or is Jon just playing the game, trying to get as much money as possible, but he thinks he's walking through Tom too?
I think it would be completely ignorant of Jones to completely just think Aspinall has no shot of being the guy that can dethrone him. I think Jon is one of the smartest guys in terms of fight IQ. He even goes as far as to saying he won't share technique and do breakdowns because he doesn't want people to know how he thinks, because then they could use that against him. And that is such a crazy thing, because I used to think like that, and I was like, you know what, whatever. I think I should be good enough to still beat guys. Maybe my opponents aren't quite watching this. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But I understand that mindset, but that's how competitive he is. I still think he's smart enough to recognize the threat of a guy like Tom Aspinall, that he could legitimately be the guy to not only beat him, but actually finish him. You know, so with that said, I think Jon is going to be doing his homework, and I think he's just going to make sure he has the leg up coming into it. I don't think he's, at this point in his career, I don't think he's taking a risk that he doesn't need to take. There's no point. There's no upside for him. All the upside is for the UFC. So if I'm Jon Jones, yeah, the ball is in my court. The UFC needs me to build up this other guy. to potentially be a star. And if I wreck this guy on my way out, that's a big problem for the UFC. I mean, you could say you could spin it as, oh, this is the greatest heavyweight. He lost to the greatest heavyweight of all time or greatest fighter of all time. Okay, cool. But the fans they're not. I don't want to say
it would completely demystify all the hype that's around Tom right now.
Because then you got the guy who just retired and says like, well, you're not really that good because you're not really the baddest man on the planet because the baddest man on the planet just beat you on the left. So it's just like the UFC does not really want that. I'm sure they'll be okay with it, but they don't want that. That's not how they made their business model.
Nah, because the money is in Tom Aspinall beating Jon, and then Tom Aspinall having like now we've got that star power that we can be behind and sell a bunch of pay-per-views.
That's a big selling point. So. I don't think Jon is a fool, and I think he's very understanding of this, especially from all the negotiation stuff that they've had behind the scenes from all the past years, if you followed any of it. I think he's a very smart guy. He might come off as probably, I don't even know, whatever to people, but the guy knows what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing.
He has like probably the most like significant experience as a fighter, as an active fighter right now, and in dealing with the UFC, because I mean, 17, 18 title fights, like that
his whole career.
Yeah,
it's pretty much championship.
Yeah,
bro.
and then insane. Like even before then, being the kid who's like the whiz kid who's coming up and is supposed to be that guy.
New York State champ. I think he was runner-up. So let's say runner-up in New York State. Then the next year he comes back his senior year, he wins it. Goes to college as a freshman, wins the JUCOs. Becomes a champion there, transfers out. Actually, I think he got kicked out, whatever. Comes to SUNY Morrisville, ends up not actually wrestling. This is where I met him at SUNY Morrisville. He goes on to dropping out of there because his wife was pregnant, fiance was pregnant at the time, whatever, his lady. Gets into the UFC. I'm fascinated by what he's doing. I asked him to come out. He lets me come down to his gym. Gets signed to the UFC. 23, he's fighting Shogun freaking Hua for the world title.
How old was he when he got to the UFC?
I think 21, bro.
And
this is why I was trying to get there. I was like, if he got there at 21, I'm going to try to do the same thing, maybe 22. And then I got there at 24, and I was so sad.
Still,
I was
bro.
so sad.
I mean, I'm 20. Like, you brought me in at 21.
Yeah.
And, like, that was crazy for me. Like, just being able to see your thing up close, like your title run. Imagine being the one. Like,
that was crazy.
Yeah. But at that age, I'm 23 right now. Like, I couldn't imagine being the star of the show, having millions all of a sudden, like, and then, like, you know, like, I couldn't imagine being 23 in that position and then being, like, 27 and having been in that position the whole time.
Yeah. Your boss buying you a Bentley.
Yeah, crashing it. Like.
And just, like, fuck it.
Like, how do you. That's so crazy. And then he navigated all that, and now he's, like.
He's like the revamped version of Mike Tyson. Not as crazy, but still up there with Tyson. Like people, like the way we talked about Tyson is the way we're gonna talk about Jones when we're 10 years from now, telling our kids and like, yo, this guy was this, he was crazy, but he was the man. Imagine having all that money at such a young age, all that fame, on top of the world, being able to do whatever you want at being that young. It's inspiring. Obviously, there's some things that you probably would want to steer away from, but at the end of the day, when we're talking just athletic ability, or should I say achievements, he's the one, bro. He's Neo.
It's crazy.
Him and Mighty Mouse, dude. I still go back and forth between who's number one.
Skilled. Okay, yeah. All around skill.
If we talk all around skill, then I feel maybe Mighty Mouse because I think you have to be a little bit more skilled at that weight compared to 205 and heavyweight. My personal opinion. I may be a little bit biased because I'm a smaller dude.
I'm a piggyback off that. I think Jones is more of a. What I thought about Jones watching him last night was like. Every part of this dude's game is just designed to like really hurt you. like every single move he makes is like deadly. Like it's like taking significant health away from the health bar, and like. That's his whole skill set is based on that. Like every punch he threw, every kick. Every front kick, every side kick, oblique kick, like just like hurts. Like that's all he's doing. Whereas like Mighty Mouse, I feel like he's got more skills, but it's not the same type of like pain infliction. Like as it appears to me.
Yeah.
You know what
Well,
I mean?
if you increase his size by
Yeah.
2,
Maybe.
that's a completely different impact.
But it's
when
like
he
Jones
lands.
is like it's like less combos, less flashy things, and more just like
Yeah.
I'm hurting you right
And
now.
also, guys aren't just standing in front of you like at heavyweight and 205 in comparison to 125, 35, 45, and even 55. But at the end of the day, defended his belt. Johns is up there.
Is he the heavyweight GOAT?
I wouldn't say he's the heavyweight GOAT, just based on if we're talking just achievements alone. Like, we know who he is. If we remove his name and he just was a heavyweight, came in at this point in his career and won the belt and defended once, it's not making you the GOAT.
Fair.
So that's the way I look at it for the heavyweight division. But if MMA,
It's still Stipe.
I would say, yeah, of course.
And now
Stipe's got the most title defenses.
If John beats Tom and walks away, do you think?
Every dog can have their day, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you could say you had one of the greatest upsets at the heavyweight division.
Yeah.
But winning one time doesn't quite. I mean, his title defenses count as heavyweight defenses, so he's already got one. He fights Jones for 2. I mean, that's a crazy resume
Didn't
already.
Stipe have 3 defenses?
I think 4.
So he had 5 title wins at heavyweight.
I know he was a
One
two-time,
win and then-
two-division,
No, he wasn't 2 division.
not two-division, two-time champ.
Yeah.
Because he had lost the belt to DC, then he got it back.
Got it back, yeah. Oh, so okay, all right.
Yeah, so I don't know. And of course, we got Chandler versus
That guy's insane.
Charles Oliveira. Oh my goodness, talk about chaotic and stressful, bro. Like, I didn't even know what the hell was going on. Keith Peterson is my guy, Long Island guy.
Yeah.
But I don't even know what was going on in that fight. Keith, I love you, but that was crazy. I know even if you watch it, you're gonna be like, yeah, I fucked up. Yeah, I fucked up. Yo, he was standing right there. My man Chandler was hitting him with the whole shebang. Bow, the back of his head. And I'm looking like, okay, that's 1, that's 2. Hey, Keith, that's 10. Are you gonna, I thought he was gonna stop the fight on illegal shots and mess the whole thing up and just be like, what, you stopped the fight on illegal shots?
Me watching
That's
it,
crazy.
I was like, this looks like back of the head shots, but he must be seeing it better because it could be a side of the head shot.
Bro, I don't think the world's eyes were all being deceived.
Nah.
bro.
But then I saw
That was
Twitter and I was
crazy.
like, not only were they talking about how like shitty Michael Chandler was in that fight, but like every fight he cheats apparently.
Well, the Poirier, yeah, he's got a. Listen, my tweet in defense of Chandler was that I give him the benefit of the doubt because he's a good guy outside of the cage. But in the cage, the guy does a lot of questionable things where I'm like, yo, bro, you are, I hate to say it, but you're a dirty fighter, bro. You're fish hooking guys, you're dropping your blood in there. Like, okay, the blood maybe not so bad because
That's kinda cool.
Your top position, like, okay, whatever. But the
Didn't
fence
Co-
grabs,
Costa did that
the
too, though.
glove grabbing.
That I saw. I was like, what is
Bro,
going
he grabbed
on
the
right
whole
now?
top of the cage. He was trying to like fish hook, I think, Poirier in the fight. There's just a lot of chaos that goes on in a Michael Chandler fight. Where for me, like, I would love to see him and Conor go at it because it would just be like,
That
chaos.
fight needs to happen.
Like, why not?
Like they're both like 1-5 in their last 6, and like literally never have even close to a boring fight. Like that fight was not as exciting as I was hoping for it to be, but
thought it was.
Chandler still made it like because I think Charles was so dominant and he wasn't like finishing him like he finishes everyone else. But then like at the end, like with the slams, like Chandler still made that shit like
Yeah.
like he still took like kind of like a one-sided fight and made it like I'm cheering for him at the end of the fight. Like, yo, you just made this so sick.
It was like, yo, that was crazy. I was hoping that he got up for a third time and he didn't jump back again. I was like, third time's a charm. If you hit him on the back of his head, you might knock him out and actually win the fight, which would be insanity. But from when he got taken down and he grabbed the whole top of the cage, pulled himself up until they got into that weird position in the first round where he was stuck and he was like, I'm not letting go. And the ref wasn't going to break it up. I was like, all right, so they're just stuck here in this weird position where neither one of these guys want to make a mistake and lose the position and really get beaten up. Okay, cool. And then the fence grab, the glove grabbing, Oliveira talking to the ref saying he's grabbing my glove, and then he's telling him, no, I'm not. I'm just like, yo, him,
I saw him like
him about to get taken down, and then Chandler's behind holding onto the cage, and you see the cage moving. I'm like, Keith, Keith, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Apparently there was a lot of bad reffing last night.
And it's all in New York, bro. It's always in New York. It's
Why?
always in New York. Like
Don't fight here.
The real bad ones, I'm saying, are always in New York.
Don't fight here.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to still fight in New York at least one time as a pro, fought here as an amateur, as a pro one time before it's all said and done. I would love that. So Kim, she's a commission head of state, whatever. But I thought that was a fun fight either way. It wasn't as crazy as the first one though, but it was still 5 rounds. It was still a really good fight, entertaining. There was a little bit of back and forth because Chandler had some moments, but then Oliveira would just shut him right back down, take him down, and then control him, beat him up.
5th round, Chandler almost had him out of there.
Yeah, but also almost had him out of there with illegal shots.
Didn't he hit him? It looked like he got,
on the feet.
like,
no, he caught him in the eye. It looked like
and then Oliveira was like this. I was like, did he just poke him in the eye?
There was one moment I think where he did. So
Yeah.
I forgot the 2 eye pokes. Where I'm like, yo, bro, this doesn't get any. There's nothing on the upside for Chandler here to make people defend him and saying, like, is he fighting dirty on purpose? And I saw a funny tweet. They said, you could take the man out of Bellator, but you can't take the Bellator out of the man. I thought that was hilarious. I was like, damn, bro.
That's so
a
good.
dig. That is a dig.
I feel like they should still make the Conor fight though. Like that's what should be next for him.
Yeah, because it'll be a big fight either way.
And like that would suck if he like had that in his hand and like didn't get it, lost, and then lost the opportunity to fight Conor.
Yeah. At least if he's gonna fight Conor, they're gonna make it a bigger payday. Then that would suck. But if his contract is gonna stay the same, then it doesn't even matter.
I'm just sure they had to take care of him for like.
He needs a win, bro.
Yeah.
2 years off, come back. You did that. It was very one-sided. And again, he fought well in the 5th round. He caught him on the feet. But then on the ground, when he was finishing up with, like, looking for the finishing sequence, it was just disheartening to see, like, yo, this is just making a mockery of the sport. Like, if we're talking about what's legal, like, you might as well just cheat, bro. Because if the refs aren't going to call it, then who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Like, I might as well go out there knowing that I got 2 eye pokes in me, I got 2 groin shots that I can utilize, and maybe 1 to 3 fence grabs, and maybe 2 or 3 glove grabs, and I'm going to be absolutely fine. Like, what are we talking about? It's like, should I not just up my odds of winning by just coming straight out and just like, hi-ya! I mean, maybe not that blatant. Maybe I disguise it a little bit like...
That's what the guy who fought Rufy was doing, the James.
And maybe so. I'm waiting for someone to just go like this and just stop the eye poke.
That would be hilarious.
It would never happen.
But I feel like Charles like improved though.
Charles looked good. He took his time, very poised.
Like he took
Looked like
damage,
but he took him down so many times and with ease. Someone was saying at the bar yesterday, they would love to see Chandler versus Islam. And then after he got taken down like 2 or 3 times, I look over and I go, you still want to see him versus Islam? Like, I'm not quite sure what exactly you want to see. You think because he wrestled, he's going to use his wrestling? I'm like, clearly it's not working in MMA for him. I'm not saying he can't wrestle, but he's not using it.
I want to see Charles versus Islam again, if anything.
Yeah, I would much rather see that. Charles versus Islam, Arman Sharyukian versus Islam. Those 2 rematches interest me the most.
Yeah.
And I feel like there was another guy that was deserving. I feel like Dan Hooker needs to win 1 more, and then he's in that conversation because that split decision over Gamrot, honestly, I thought Gamrot edged it out, but it was still a very well-aged win, and for me, that puts him in the conversation. You can't, it's on paper he won, so whatever.
Yeah.
So I think he gets 1 more. He's in the conversation for title shot. You got another Kiwi that could potentially fight for a belt and have a crazy storyline of a resurgence coming back from all these defeats, and now he's fighting for gold. That's a Cinderella story right there.
Yeah.
Not saying he beats Islam because we saw what he did to him just straight up, but it was also on short notice, right? So.
Yeah, but I think Islam
still probably beats him in the ground.
beats him like that. Yeah.
Especially if Gamrot was able to take him down that many times.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what would be different other than trying to catch him with a step-in knee, because he has like a 3-fight streak where he knocked guys out with knees.
Damn.
In a row.
Yeah,
Dan Hooker.
he has like a body type for landing
Just
knees.
stepping in, bow, just knocking guys out. He knocked out Gilbert Burns with a step-in knee.
Oh, yeah.
But that was also at 55. And Gilbert was cutting crazy weight. He said, nah, I'm going to be a big boy. gonna go up a weight class, 15 pounds, baby.
Fucking savage.
But I think that's that about the Chandler fight. I don't know what Oliveira does next. He's in kind of this weird limbo spot because Arman Sharukian is supposed to fight. I don't know if they announced Islam's fight for January yet. I know they've been talking about this.
It's got to be Arman.
Hopefully that is the fight. Keep the division moving. And then after that, I don't know. If I'm him, I'm probably just waiting. And then, of course, we got Bo Nickal versus Paul Craig. That fight was very underwhelming.
Yeah.
Hats off to Bo Nickal, though. He stood in there toe-to-toe with a guy who beat Jamahal Hill and submitted Ankalaev, which is crazy.
That is crazy.
But with that said, that was a perfect fight for him to get his feet wet with the striking, try to work some kinks out. Similar situation. He didn't really press the wrestling because what? He takes him down and what? He's in his world and possibly gets submitted. You beat the guy whose reaction time is very slow. You throw a jab at Paul Craig and it's like a 2-second delay. It's super weird. But some people don't have those gifts. And even though you could try to work on reaction time and doing all these different drills, and this is like the touching screen thing where you could like really try to work on your reaction time. There's so many different things you could do for that. But at his age, I think that's going to be very difficult for him to do. So he was reacting very slowly to a lot of the stuff coming at his way. I was surprised Bo Nickal didn't gas pedal him a little bit more to try to get the knockout.
But I mean, what's that? His 5th MMA fight ever?
7th pro.
Okay, yeah, and like you're fighting like a super high level guy. Like I feel like the expectations are very like high for Bo. Like, and then I also think it was a matchmaking mistake in a way.
He brought it on himself though. He does talk a very big game.
Yeah. But
then after the fight, he goes on and he clears it up. It was like, oh, I only had this amount of fights. I'm like, so then stop doing that. You're doing what Izzy used to do. You're doing what Izzy used to do, bro.
I feel like on paper that was a good matchup, but like I don't know. I feel like for Bo, like to give him a guy who can't wrestle really, or like it's like doesn't make sense for him to wrestle. And then that like it's not gonna make for an exciting fight. Like I don't think that fight was not gonna be fireworks.
It could have been if it actually went to the ground. I feel like we're kind of robbed of that.
I agree, but I like logically it wasn't really smart for him to try to take him down.
I had my brothers tell me he's just going to take him down. What he's going to do? I'm like, the guy submitted Jamahal Hill and Ankalaev.
Yeah.
He's like, well, Jamahal Hill's not a grappler. I said, but did you hear the other name? I said Ankalaev.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, but Jamahal. I was like, okay, well, we're talking about Ankalaev now. Okay, he submitted Jamahal Hill. He submitted Ankalaev. Are you listening to what I'm saying? The guy is good off of his back, and that's where he gets most of his submissions. So why would you take him down and put yourself? I told him, I was like, yo, I think he's going to keep it standing. And that's exactly what he did.
It was like Kamaru and Colby won, but not as good.
Not as good. Not even close.
No,
as good.
I'm saying not. But like
that's disrespectful.
Two
bro.
grapplers trying to strike each other is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Not that it was that exciting.
That's just blatant.
You get what I'm saying?
Now I do.
Okay.
I thought that was like.
Nah, I'm not trying to say it was like that level of exciting.
I was like, yo, bro.
I'm saying,
Bruh.
these guys are gonna not wrestle, not grapple, and they're just gonna strike. And now we got two bad strikers striking for the third to last fight on MSG. Like that was bad. That just wasn't well thought out in my opinion. Yeah. This was not like in my opinion. Both should be. That it was almost too much. It was like too much of a rush.
I mean, Paul Craig's not even ranked. I don't think. So.
They said Bo. I thought he was. I thought Bo's ranked after that.
I don't know. Not that I remember. I would have to double check. But if he was, whatever. But yeah, it wasn't. Maybe too much too soon in terms of veteran experience, but it let him get comfortable getting ring time standing up. I think that's the most important part.
Yeah.
Because I do wish I had that, because most of my fights I would just take guys down. But if I knew that they were terrible strikers, I could actually work my striking and try to get better in that department and see like, okay, coach said to do this on the pass, so let me see if it works. 1, 2. Like little things like that, just to kind of get the reps and real-time experience. If it doesn't work, you get cracked a little bit or you get hit a little. You can kind of shake it off and go, okay, let me try it a different way. And you get real-time experience versus just always in the gym, because it's not the same.
I saw a
like
thing.
Jon Jones.
There you go. I saw a thing on Twitter. It was like, who should Bo fight next? And it was like, one of the names was Joe Pyfer.
Wow.
And then I was like, I don't know. I feel like after last night, maybe this is a crazy take, but after last night, I don't think even Bo is like ready for Joe Pyfer. Like, because there's such a discrepancy on the feet.
I think Pfeiffer would beat Bo Nickal at this point based on that performance because the stand-up is not even close.
It's
And
not,
the power.
yeah.
The power. Bo Nickal looks small in there against Paul Craig. But grappling, he has really good training partners in Sean Brady and some other guys that he's grappling with and Joe Pfeiffer. So I think he would be prepared for the grappling of Bo Nickal. And Bo Nickal's not like buzzsawing through everyone when he takes them down and just ripping through their guard and passing and submitting them right away. It's not like Damian Maia.
Right.
It's a completely different style of grappling, but you know if he takes you down, he can control you. If Pfeiffer were to come in shape and not have any like behind the scenes situation going on, I think Pfeiffer probably gets the upset.
I would think so.
But I don't think you kill off a prospect right now.
No, I'm not saying like that would. I think that would be silly, but it just made me think like before last night, I would be thinking like that's a sick fight to make, and
Yeah.
now I'm almost thinking like Bo needs to like go back in the lab and like keep developing. Not, I mean,
No, of
that's
course.
harsh, obviously.
No, it's not harsh.
But-
he knows it. He said it. He's like the skill development happens in the gym.
But the hype of Bo Nickal doesn't like now it's completely like gone. I feel.
Maybe not. But I do think if they were to get him back in there sooner rather than later and give him another style like that, but a little lower level, where if he could use his wrestling, if he does get hurt on the feet, then that's an opportunity for him to gain more experience and to gain some more traction, get a finish, and look good in front of the crowd. And I think that would be better served for him in his career.
Yeah.
That's my personal opinion on that one. But we'll see. I don't know what's next for him, so we'll see which direction he goes. Maybe he goes hunting again, and he's gone for like 8 months again, which is just like, okay.
Yeah. I don't know what's next for him.
Another fight that I thought was crazy. I mean, we'll wrap it up with this. But before we get into it, guys, make sure you go check out funkharborrum.shop right now. We are selling 2 bottles or more, free shipping. Go check it out. Support your boy. This is limited edition rum. We are going and going and going until we're gone. We will have the white rum hopefully here for Christmas time. If not, January would be January 1st. So for the New Year's,
Hell
if it's
yeah.
not here. So that would be much more affordable. It's going to be a 750 milliliter bottle, and the price point should be about $25. Authentic Jamaican rum. So go get you some. Appreciate the support.
Let me check this can. I just want to make sure it's. I'm just being paranoid right now. Okay, we're good. This one's good. Tap your mic.
I'm good.
Okay.
I saw it already. On the
I'm
screen.
I'm just paranoid. Some shit will go wrong.
So the next fight that I think that's worthy to talk about is Jonathan Martinez versus Marcus McGee. I thought Jonathan Martinez had that fight.
I didn't watch
It was interesting. He was the guy that fought JP.
Yeah, I know.
O'Malley's
yeah,
teammate.
yeah.
A lot of hype. If you know, you know. One of Dana White's posts to hype up the fight. Martinez looked gun shy just like he did against Jose Aldo, where he came out, didn't really do too much, and then tried to get going at the end of the fight where it was too little too late. This fight, he hurts his leg in the 3rd round, but he throws almost no leg kicks in round 1. Throws maybe 2 to 4 in round 2. And they finally start to add up. And in round 3, he gets him to limp. And you see him hop on one leg. And I'm just like, brother, your leg kicks are your game. Why get away from that? Like, of course, Marcus McGee is very powerful. He hits hard. He comes in combinations. He moves a lot. He's shifting. Boom, boom, boom. He blitzes in. He's explosive. But if you don't do what you need to do to get people to fear coming in, then they have no fear of coming in. So I don't know. It was a very weird one, especially coming off the Onama fight, who fought another guy on short notice and ended up winning in a crazy fight with that Romero kid. Back and forth war. He ended up getting the job done. That kid was pretty damn badass. But same coaching camp. So you would think, like, the way the guy was throwing the kicks and the coaching in that one, it was just very odd for me because I thought it was a very winnable fight for Jonathan Martinez. Now he's on a 2-fight skid, losing to Jose Aldo, now losing to McGee. And even the commentators were talking about it. It's like, dude, you guys like hurt. He's like limping going into round 3, but you got to put the pedal to the gas a little bit, and he didn't quite do that until the very end. And then when he got him hurt, he pushed in for a takedown against the cage and gave McGee at least a minute to chill and not have to hop around where he couldn't get his leg kicked anymore. I was like, oh, brother, you know how many head kicks you could have been setting up off of this? At least giving yourself a shot. Not saying it connects, but giving yourself a shot. But Marcus McGee looked really good, but I thought that was a fight that Martinez could have won to turn him back, but McGee was able to outlast. Probably needed crutches at the end of that night because that did not look good.
Yeah, I didn't see that one.
I thought he was going to stop the fight because I think he stopped 2 fights with leg kicks. I thought he was going to stop another one with leg kicks.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. The guy kicks good, man. He hits those calf kicks. They're right on the money, but just didn't really throw anything. Like very low volume in rounds 1 and 2.
How'd McGee look?
I thought he looked pretty good.
Yeah.
And every time he would kick him, McGee would start coming back with big bombs, kind of like trying to get him out of there like, yo, F you for kicking my leg. Like, that sucks. So you answer it back. That's the right thing to do. But that's also the telltale of like, yo, these kicks are getting to me. So you know this guy's trying to get you out of there right away. That means there's something going on here that you don't want me to realize. And I'm like, nah, I'm going to kick the shit out of that leg again because you're getting tight because you know your leg is it's pretty compromised. And I'm probably 1 or 2 kicks away from you needing to take a seat and the ref probably stopping the fight. But my 2 cents on that.
That'd be cool to like hear more of your mental breakdowns like that. Like breaking down what the fighter's probably thinking in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know if anyone's actually doing that,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Like I've never heard anything like that's pretty cool.
Yeah, like, you know, I'm telling you, he kicked him and just came back with like a 6-punch combination. Just like, I was like, oh, that leg hurts, doesn't it?
Wait, were they like calf kicks or
Calf
like,
kicks.
oh, okay.
Calf kicks.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the one in the 3rd round when he caught him and he just, one leg started hopping. I was like, oh. And then he had to switch stances. I was like, yo, bro, he's in the opposite stance, probably not as comfortable. This is where you're supposed to be pressing and attacking. Because now he's more vulnerable. Like, I fight well from southpaw. I don't defend the best from southpaw. My defense is always great from an orthodox standpoint, but I don't have the most powerful offense. So I think when I'm southpaw, my offense is way more powerful. Like, I got a heavy left hook. I got a stiff jab because this is my power side. And then my left kick is money. And then my right side, my right kick isn't as great, but most of the time my left kick is money because it's opposite stances. So like little things like that, like you know yourself, but I also know you don't see punches and defend as well from a southpaw orthodox stance because I don't fight there all the time. And I'm not fighting from southpaw and fighting orthodox guys all the time. But from orthodox to orthodox, I can sit here all day. Even against a southpaw, I feel relatively comfortable from the orthodox standpoint versus switching. So it's just food for thought. Like some of the things, like you have to understand like the mindset of a fighter, and I think that makes it a lot easier to kind of break it down, know what your opponent is thinking.
Interesting.
But that's my 2 cents.
Game from the champ.
All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe button. Is there anything else we missed? Shout out to Funk Harbor, baby. Go check it out.
The best liquid on the market.
.shop. See you guys. What we got next week? Oh, we got PDon versus Figueiredo next week.
Oh, shit.
Big fight next weekend. We'll give you guys a breakdown very, very, very soon.
Oh, that's a sick fight.
Word.
Yo, that's fun. All right.
Cheers. Peace.
Nice. Do some thumbnails real